What is poppin', sports fans? It is your boy Ashley the Cat, and I am coming at you today with our Week 3 game versus Phantom Blade, coach of the Gary Southshore Raikous. Now, his team is very, very scary. He has a Zapdos, a Tangrowth, and an Alola, all of which very much so wall my rain offense, as well as Pokemon like Victini, which get the coverage to take on pretty much everything on my team. Beedrill is definitely a problem just because it does get Drill Run, and a lot of my Pokemon aren't bulky enough to take up to its insane attack stat, even if the attack is resisted. Especially not if it's 4 times effective in the case of my Heatran, which is pretty much the only thing that for sure walls this Beedrill on my team, unless it has Drill Run. So he also has the Salamance, which is very, very scary as far as sweeping goes, but I think we have some pretty decent prep this week. I'm going to send you over to our team analysis with our friend Ashley the Cat. Ash, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Okay, thanks, Ash. We are here to introduce you to the team today. We got Bird Person the Decidueye. He is going to be bringing leftovers with his ability Overgrow. He has Defog, Leaf Blade, U-Turn, and Toxic. This is going to allow him to clear out some hazards and wear down some walls while maintaining switch momentum for our sweepers. Next up, we have Hita the Heatran. He also has leftovers, running a very specially defensive nature. He has Flash Fire, Substitute, Earth Power, Fire Blast, and Toxic. Set up Substitute on the force switch, do damage to whatever you can on the other side, or Toxicate if you steal Alola. Next up, we have Magic City the Pelipper, Choice Scarfed with Drizzle. This is Choice Scarf so that we can outspeed all of his walls and lay down some serious hurt with a little bit of chip down beforehand. We have Scald, U-Turn, Hurricane, and Ice Beam with enough speed to outspeed everything on his team unboosted. Fiji Water the Kingdra. This is our main rain sweeper. He has Life Orb, Swift Swim, Flash Cannon, Surf, Dragon Pulse, and Hidden Power Grass. Now, this set is not as ideal as one I could have brought. It lacked the power, but nonetheless very intimidating. We have Sneaky the Liepard with the Focus Sash. It's Prankster, Taunt, Foul Play, Thunder Wave, and U-Turn. Now this thing is going to be trying to lay down foul plays on Pokemon like Victini while taunting Alola, possibly that Zapdos, and Thunder Waving anything that could possibly present to be itself to be a speed threat while maintaining U-Turn momentum. Finally, we have Lego. This is Dominior with White Herb, Shell Smash, Acrobatics, Stone Edge, and Earthquake. Max HP, max attack, because at +2 it outspeeds everything on his team, even all of his Choice Scarfers, including Choice Scarf Victini or a +1 Salamance. Back to you, Ash.
Alright, thanks Ash. So, as you can see, we have a pretty good squad lined up for today. We're going to go ahead and jump right into the battle. I'm going to turn the volume all the way down because I've got my own music playing. So, anyway, here we go, popping right into it. Phantom, I think his name is Chase, and he does have a YouTube channel. He has already posted his battle from his perspective, so I will talk a little bit about his plays in here as well, because I do kind of know, if I can remember, what all he went for. So here I'm just going to lead off with the Scarf Pelipper, get that Drizzle going, make it rain a little bit. And I figured this thing's probably going to go for a U-turn. It can't OHKO me, I don't think, with my spread with Poison Jab, and a Hurricane will absolutely demolish this Mega Beedrill, although it is a huge problem. So I actually did debate on going for the Hurricane right here. As you'll see, he is just going to U-turn out, and that does a hefty chunk. So I'm beginning to think that maybe I can't live a Poison Jab from this thing. So out comes the Zapdos, and you'll see here I actually do go for the Hurricane. I hoped that he wouldn't U-turn, but unfortunately he does. That is a clean 30% to the Zapdos, and you see it is a crit. So had that been the damage outright, I would have probably stayed in and tried to hit another one, bank on getting some confusion or something like that. Bank on him anticipating a switch and going for a Roost or something, but he actually just does get confused and injures himself, so that's pretty nice. I get my Heatran in scot-free on this Zapdos, so he is going to withdraw, not really knowing what I'm going to do, and go right here in the purple range, which is his Alola. So we're going to take this opportunity to set up a nice little substitute. This is going to let us fire off a Toxic at this Alola and not really have to take any damage in return. But definitely with the rain up, we would take way more than 25%. and with 2 turns of leftovers recovery, it is basically very minimal chip. So we actually do land the toxic here on the Alomomola, which is really good. This thing walls Kingdra very well, and he's going to just go ahead and fire off the Scald here, breaking my substitute, which is definitely anticipated. I figured he would do something along the lines of that. And as you'll see, even though that this is the last turn of rain, because I'm not Smooth Rock on Pelipper, I'm going to go ahead and switch out here into my Kingdra, because I know that it takes a Scald better than anything else on my team. If it gets burned, that sucks because of chip damage's sake, you know, because I am a Life Orb set. But at the very least, at least it's not physical. I didn't want to get one of my physical threats neutered so early in the game, so I decided to go out here and switch into Kingdra and try and scare out this Alomomola, because he doesn't have a fairy type, and I'm free to just throw off a nice little Dragon Pulse. As you can see, he does get the crit on me, which is not too big. It's very minimal chip, but he does get the burn, which is really unfortunate. So he is going to rack up a little bit of toxic damage here, and due to my calcs, Dragon Pulse is going to be doing a nice little chunk to this hero Alomomola. So I'm just going to fire off a Dragon Pulse in case he stays in. It's been very clear that he can't really do anything to me, and he's going to go right here into Tangrowth. So that boy's shiny. I hit the Dragon Pulse, and it is going to do actually a pretty solid chunk, probably about 30%, 40%. It looks a little closer to 40, but obviously not enough for me to feel comfortable staying in and firing off another one. This is my main Rain Sweeper. This is my only Rain Sweeper, as I don't have Mega Swamper, and I can pretty freely switch in my Heatran right here. As you'll see, he's going to go for the knockoff and knock off my leftovers, which is a little unfortunate, but because if I could have chosen, I would have gone into my Lipard. But here I don't think he's going to knock twice, and I think this is a pretty switch into Pelipper. And also I'm scouting for the Earthquake, because I know I've run Tangrowth in a couple of leagues. I know it gets Earthquake. I don't want to risk my Heatran. As you'll see, he actually does have it, so I was pretty happy with that play, how it worked out. And then I immediately followed it with a horrible play. I looked at my calcs. I saw that I couldn't Oko him with Hurricane, but I was trying to bluff that I was Specs Pelipper, because I was doing some pretty good damage earlier, and maybe hoping he didn't notice the crit. I don't know. It wasn't a great play. As you can see, he knocks off my Choice Scarf, neutering my Pelipper a ton. Yes, we do burn the Tangrowth, which is nice for damage sake, but really not happy with the prediction there, because a Hurricane would have at least put him in low enough to the point where I could have hit Hurricane again and possibly hit whatever he wanted to switch in with the Hurricane, be like the Zapdos or something. Here I'm just going to go for a substitute, thinking that he might switch out, but he didn't. He just went ahead for the discharge. He is going to switch out here now though, and go right here into his Alomomola, because obviously I can't toxic him. The rain is up. I am going to go for Fire Blast, kind of hoping to catch something else on the switch in, pretty much anything but this Alomomola, but he has no reason not to. I've already shown that I have my substitute and toxic, so I really can't afford to be running a hidden power that's not going to really do that much to this thing anyway. So I really don't have anything to hit. It's not my Zmon, so I can't use Z Solar Power, so I'm just going to fire off an Earth Power here and get some chip along with this toxic damage, and just try with all my might to get rid of this Alomomola, because it is causing me a lot of issues, man. It's really walling a lot of my team, and it's super bulky, and it has the ability to wish. So as long as this Pokemon is alive and capable of throwing off a wish, I don't really feel super safe against his team, because it's a very threatening wall sort team to stall out my rain and basically make me have to force switches and rely on chip. And it's just a lot of predictions to come with playing with rain, and that's made even harder when your Pokemon are walled by almost every single thing. So here I'm just going to go for another Earth Power to get this thing low enough to die to toxic damage. However, I did forget when doing my calcs that he had already shown like a zillion times before to have leftovers. So the leftovers is going to put him up to where he is just out of range to dying to toxic, which is really bad, because I was really only sacking off my Heatran because I thought it was guaranteed that I was going to take out this Alomomola. Obviously that's my bad. I should have done a little bit more work into there, and now he can just pretty much freely switch out this Alomomola and get that regenerator health back. he's going to ride out here into Zapdos, and I'm just going to U-turn. I figured he wouldn't stay in. If he did stay in, I could U-turn out into something that's going to start putting damage down in this Alola and can take its attacks like Kingdra, but instead he goes Zapdos, so I'm just going to switch right out here into my Liepard. So here I actually misplay and go for the foul play instead of taunting. I should have taunted because it would have, meant that he can't roost anymore. And as you can see there, he has a citrus berry, so that's really, really bad, because now he is going to be at almost full health. And see here, I was kind of upset with the last play and went on tilt for a second and just hit taunt here. He has no reason to want to roost again or do anything like that. Foul play obviously isn't doing the kind of damage that it needs to, and he is going to discharge. So here I'm definitely on tilt, and I thought that was a crit. There's no thing saying it was a crit, but in my mind I was like, oh, that damage doesn't match my calc. It's a crit. Now what I should have done was been paying attention and realized that he is actually modest Zapdos. I'm also going to grab the paralysis on this Liepard, which is really unfortunate because even though I have Prankster for taunt and Thunder Wave, it doesn't really work for foul play or U-turn. So now at least I get a slow U-turn, but still it's probably just going to die off because it is kind of bulky, but not as bulky as it was need to be. So this Decidueye is just bulky enough to wall out this Zapdos, which is very nice. He's just going to go right out in here into his Tangrowth because I really don't have anything to hit it. I was trying to Toxic the Zapdos, but as you can see, he switches in his Tangrowth, and the Toxic is basically a wasted turn. I didn't have anything better to hit it with anyway. I could have U-turned predicting that the Zapdos was going to switch, but I honestly didn't know what the Zapdos was going to do. I thought it might have Heat Wave and was going to go for a Heat Wave, but obviously he did not. So I'm just going to U-turn here, get a little bit of damage off, and go right here into my Pelipper, because Pelipper can take anything that this Tangrowth wants to throw out, and it pretty much allows me to hit a free Hurricane here, as he is going to knock off, which doesn't matter because he already knocked off my Choice Scarf earlier, and now he is definitely in range of a Hurricane. Now I really want to predict him to switch here and go for the Scald, but I've been burned before, I'm just gonna go for the Hurricane. I'm fairly certain. No, I U-turned. I was even more scared. I didn't know what to do. He really shook me with my misprediction earlier on the Pelipper, and I was not making any plays with the Pelipper toward the end of this game. I am just gonna switch right out here into my Fiji Water because I see that it's a roll to knock this thing out. By my calcs, at least, it was a roll to knock this thing out, and I'm just going to Surf. Now if I had checked my calcs and seen that he was actually a modest, I would have seen that this knocks me out and I lose Fiji Water, the Rain Sweeper, without doing really anything with it other than lowering the Zapdos. So here I have to taunt pretty much. If he KOs me, that's fine. I'll just bring in something else, but I can't risk him roosting up on the Zapdos. I need to get any of his Pokemon down, any of his walls down, so that I can start trying to lay down some damage with the Pokemon that I have left. So instead of trying to just knock me out, he is going to withdraw, and I am going to go here, I think, and just get paralyzed, actually. So again, we're going to misplay for, like, I don't know, maybe the 5th time this game, and instead of taunting here like any sane person would do, I just assumed he would Scald and try to knock me out, right? Which was really dumb. I should have just taunted regardless, because that way it would have been taunted even if he knocked me out, but I didn't, and he goes for the Wish. So that's really unfortunate, because this foul play is going to do a nice little chunk of change on this Alola, even though, as Chase said, he is negative defense investment, and had I taunted there would have been just Toxic damage rack up. Like, it would have been slightly above where it is now. So what I could have done then is I could have foul played and then possibly knocked this thing out or hit something else coming in on the foul play, but unfortunately that was not the case. We are going to go right out here into Bird Person as he reveals that he actually has Protect, so taunt would have been excellent there, but no matter. The only attacking move we really have on this is Leaf Blade, and we haven't revealed it yet, so I'm definitely trying to fight from behind here. I've already lost my Rain Sweeper, and a lot of these Pokemon wall pretty much any combination that I have left. The Regenerator on Alola is super annoying, but as you can see, he's done playing those games. He goes right out into the Salamance as I'm going to Leaf Blade, and that does pitiful damage. So I instantly get scared. I know this thing is gonna dragon. Why wouldn't it dragon dance, dude? I notice it's not intimidate, so it's going to be Moxie, and he dragon dances. So I do the only thing I can think to do, and I fire off a toxic. Like, that's the only thing I can think to do. If I can have at least 1 or 2 of my Pokemon live 1 or 2 of its hits, we'll be fine, right? We won't have to worry about it. We won't have to worry about this absolute monster. We can just toxic stall it down and at least get 1 kill this game. That's what I was aiming for at this point, was at least getting 1 kill down, because this would be a hell of a comeback. But we are going to switch out here into our Lipard, hoping that he might get greedy and decide to de-dance again. I should have just stayed in and died there with my Decidueye, but unfortunately he's going to go for the Moxie. So had I died there and then gotten this thing, oh, I'm sorry, I can't. That's the reason I sacked off Lipard, because the only thing it was really good for anymore would be Thunder Waving this behemoth right here. So since it was already toxic, I didn't do that. If I was Choice Scarf here, that'd have been really nice, because I actually could have knocked out the Salamance or brought it down within range. But unfortunately my Choice Scarf was knocked off. I'm just going to die to a Dragon Claw. Now here, if I had Focus Sash Minior, I would have definitely gone into it, but unfortunately I kind of saw how this went. Like, as soon as he Dragon Danced up, if I didn't have, like, I had to have Focus Sash Minior to win this game, because as you're going to see right here, he reveals that he is Flying EMZ, so he can definitely one-shot this Decidueye, definitely at +3 or whatever he's at now. And this is going to be a 6-0 sweep for the Gary Southshore Raikous. This Salamance absolutely put in the work. 6-0 sweep my entire team by himself. Look at that angry boy coming at me from the sky. Really good game to chase. I really enjoyed the match. As he said in his video, and I really appreciated him saying, the 6-0, the scoreboard is not indicative of how good this game was. This was kind of an uphill battle for my rain team the entire time, and while I'm not super happy with the prep that I brought, I'm happy with how the prep performed. So that at least is good, that I'm able to execute my ideas. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see how this Minior set worked out. I wish I would have maybe I could have even like led with it because of all of his different lead options, and I would have just been scot-free to absolutely suit this man's team, because it doesn't seem like he has any priority moves. He does have a Scarf Victini, but that is the only thing that he has. As soon as that loads, there we go. Okay, so a really good game to chase. I really enjoyed it. There's definitely some plays that I wish I could have made better. I don't think they would have won me the game, but it would have at least made the 6-0 a little bit softer. I think that he brought exactly what he needed to win. Like, pretty much everything on his team was assurance. His defensive core between Zapdos, Tangrowth, and Alola performed fantastically. Pretty much probably what he imagined when he drafted it. Salamence Sweeper came in at the perfect time and did what it needed to do. Scarf Victini sitting in the back would have absolutely punched holes through my team had it been given the chance. And Mega Beedrill did what it needed to do. It got that U-turn chip on Pelipper. But really good game. We are at 2-1 now, which is a little unfortunate because we were having a pretty solid start to the season. But hey, that's not to mean that we're in a bad place. Everybody drops one every now and then, and I'm definitely not happy, but I'm definitely fine with dropping one to a person whose team so well counters mine. I think we are divisional opponents, so we will play again, which is pretty exciting. I think that I will hopefully have a better team next time. Maybe get somebody to help me with prep and stuff. Maybe do some ad drops and pick up some other Pokemon that could put in a little bit more work than the ones that I currently have. But if you guys like the commentary, it's a little bit more laid back today, I think. Y'all let me know, like, comment, subscribe, all the bullshit. Let me know how you're enjoying this season so far. I'm sorry I don't have a layout this week. It's one of the only GFX that isn't really provided for us from Eric, and I just didn't have time to throw one together this week. I have already played my game with Jose. The reason this is coming up a day late is because I was planning on recording it after my battle with Jose yesterday. And I think we started the battle at like 3:30 a.m. my time and ended at about like 4:30 a.m. And then I talked with Jose about the game for probably 45 minutes after that, and then so it got to be like 6 a.m. and I was like, I can't record anything right now. I'm super sleepy, so I conked out. But hope you guys enjoyed this week. I've already said all the bullshit that I usually say before I leave, so I'm just gonna bounce. Peace.